right now at 7.
Breaking news, streets still closed off in one neighborhood tonight after a shooting in the South Bay.
Plus, another brazen attack against a member of the Asian community now. Some Bay Area firefighters are answering the call to step up.
We are going to be there in numbers and in strength.
And tonight, which 3 Bay Area counties are about to ease coronavirus restrictions even further?
And we're live with the turmoil tonight inside one large Bay Area school district. The new calls for resignations.
This board is becoming a case study for performative, shallow activism and hypocrisy.
Breaking news in San Jose, police investigating a shooting near Cimarron Park. It happened just 3 hours ago on Kawalker Lane. Officers say at least one man was hit by gunfire. A shooting victim could be seen on the street. Police say he suffered life-threatening injuries. Police have not released information on a suspect or a motive.
Also right now on the KPIX5 News at 7, streaming on CBSN Bay Area, off-duty firefighters now protecting the streets of San Francisco after yet another attack against an Asian American. This was a woman who was robbed and then dragged while leaving church. Good evening, I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Elizabeth Cook. KPIX5's Kenny Choi shows us those firefighters are going the extra mile to try to stop these attacks from happening.
The city will announce 2 new programs in its latest effort to address some of these violent attacks. But for now, some off-duty firefighters are coordinating their own patrols to help out their communities. What the This latest incident of an Asian victim injured in a violent robbery has given these men another reason to respond.
We are going to be there in numbers and in strength, and we will do what we need to do to defend these people.
Retired Fire Marshal Paul Chin called on his former mates to fight in a different way.
We all know, right, the police officers can't be everywhere. Sheriff deputies can't be everywhere, right? We wish.
You're reassuring the community that, hey, we're volunteering, we're firefighters, we're out here, and we're watching over you.
San Francisco police and the sheriff guided these off-duty firefighters patrolling the streets of Chinatown for the first time.
While we don't want them to act on criminal activity, we do want everyone to be safe, to keep the members of the community safe, to watch out for the elderly and vulnerable.
They handed out cards for a newly launched tip line to help Chinese speakers report crimes.
It's a way to connect immediately and get us the information as soon as we can so that we can act on it.
San Francisco Mayor London Breed is promising more help is on the way.
And we're determined to put the resources towards addressing these issues, and hopefully we will be able to turn it around.
Details of the program are unclear, but I'm being told that the idea of the programs is to centralize some of these volunteer patrol groups that have been popping up across the city and the Bay Area. To help that, the city plans to distribute these visible vests that these volunteers can wear so that they can be easily identified by the community. In San Francisco, Kenny Choi, KPIX5.
Well, the victim of another attack in San Francisco says that she'd like to give back to the community. Zhao Zhenxi fought off her attacker on Market Street. More than $900,000 has been raised for her. Now, she says that she wants to give that money back to the Asian community. Her grandson says that she feels like the issue is much bigger than herself. He says that she's feeling much more optimistic and is in better spirits.
Now to the road to recovery tonight. 3 Bay Area counties are easing coronavirus restrictions even further. San Francisco, Santa Clara, and Marin counties will join San Mateo County in the less restrictive orange tier beginning tomorrow. Taking a live look at San Francisco right now, the move allows places like bowling alleys and offices to reopen at 25% capacity. The team at FAST in Soma is ready to reopen their office doors starting at 8 a.m. Mayor London Breed says the move will bring the city back to life, but also expects to see lasting changes from the pandemic.
This is a very serious illness, but we know that there are several members of our team who want to be back in the office. You know, there are many of us who do our best work when we're face to face.
Downtown may change, and we know it may change. We know that there are companies that are talking specifically about working from home.
In San Jose tonight, city leaders are discussing whether to resume clearing homeless encampments and moving the folks there to a city-sanctioned site. It comes about a year after the city halted encampment management due to the pandemic. According to the Mercury News, there are more than 200 encampments in the city now.
Looking live at San Francisco, where a contentious fight is underway to get a school board member to step down over her tweets about the Asian American community. KPIX5's Andrea Borba is live in San Francisco with how that member is responding this evening. Andrea?
Well, Elizabeth, Allison Collins spoke early on during the board member comments section of tonight's school board meeting. She did not talk about resigning, but instead talked about a transformative and reparative dialogue that she wants to start with her colleagues, parents, and students.
I'd like to reemphasize my sincere and heartfelt apologies. And I'm currently engaging with my colleagues and working with community for the good of all children in our district.
That statement came from SFUSD Board Vice President Allison Collins minutes into tonight's board meeting. It comes after a weekend where leaders from the mayor's office to Sacramento called for her resignation after a series of 2016 tweets where, in her words, she tried to combat anti-black racism in the Asian community. She tweeted, "Many Asian Americans believe they benefit from the model minority BS. Many Asian American teachers, students, and parents actively promote these myths. They use white supremacist thinking to get ahead. Talk to many Lowell parents and you'll hear praise of Tiger Moms and disparagement of black-brown culture." A group of Lowell alums and Democratic leaders spoke out in front of the elite San Francisco high school this morning, calling for Collins' resignation.
My answer is, racism anytime is wrong, and you can't misunderstand those texts.
It is with a heavy heart that I've done this, but I do believe that given Ms. Collins' lack of insight into her own words and her lack of a sincere apology towards the API community.
But Reverend Amos Brown of Third Baptist Church says before resignation, the community needs to listen to what she has to say.
We, as a people, need to stop calling for resignations and talk to people. If there are wrinkles somewhere, you get the iron and you iron it out.
Commenters in the Zoom board meeting attacked not only Collins, but the entire school board.
This board is becoming a case study for performative, shallow activism and hypocrisy.
Now, we expect this to be a very long SFUSD school board meeting tonight. Over 1,000 people have signed up to speak, and they have some big topics to get through, talking about the process for hiring a new superintendent and as well reopening the schools here in San Francisco. Live outside Lowell High School tonight, Andrea Borba, KPIX5.
Andrea, thank you for that.
Tonight, growing concerns about a homeless encampment taking over a popular park in Oakland. Tents now sit on the tennis courts at Athol Park near Lake Merritt, and trash lines the fences. The Oakland Tennis Council is raising the alarm, saying it's become a serious health hazard. It's now raising money for park residents with the hope of finding them a new shelter.
Raising the money for these individuals will be used so we can get them into a better location. Not that we want to just move them off the court, but we definitely want to find them a better place with better living conditions.
Coming up next, how Warriors head coach Steve Kerr strayed away from tonight's game plan for a moment to talk tough about the recent gun violence.
This could be your family. This could be your friend. You know, this could be somebody very close to you.
People were saying that people are going to spend all the money on drugs and alcohol.
Free money, no strings attached. The Bay Area city that just launched a guaranteed monthly income program.
And then later, from Buckingham Palace to big tech, what Prince Harry needs to do to prove himself at his new job here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I think that's a real challenge for a situation like this.
Windy conditions across the Bay Area today, but other than those strong winds, it was pretty nice out there and a beautiful sunset as we look towards the Golden Gate from the Mark Hopkins Hotel. The wind won't be as strong tomorrow. The temperatures are actually going to be a couple degrees warmer. We'll talk about what happens as we head towards the weekend coming up in the forecast.
Looking out toward the city of Oakland tonight, which is considering an idea that may sound crazy to some of you. Free money with no strings attached. Today, the city announced a new pilot program. It would give 600 low-income people a guaranteed monthly payment of $500 for 18 months. Evaluators would then monitor the group to see how much impact those payments had on recipients' lives. The idea was first tried 3 years ago in the city of Stockton.
People were saying that people were going to stop working. People were saying that people were going to spend all the money on drugs and alcohol. And the data that came out 3 weeks ago from the pilot shows that all those things are false.
We believe that guaranteed income is the most transformative policy that can achieve this vision and whose time has come.
The 600 participants in Oakland's pilot program will be randomly drawn from a pool of applicants meeting certain income criteria.
The San Jose Fire Department is investigating a fire that started near a homeless encampment. Crews were called to Center Road by Happy Hollow Zoo around 1 o'clock this afternoon. When they arrived, flames were burning tents and an abandoned railroad bridge. No one was hurt, but firefighters are monitoring the bridge to see if it is at risk of collapsing.
Live look outside, taking you to Pacifica. Wow. I'm seeing a flag that's not really standing straight out like a lot of them are around the Bay Area, Paul.
Still an offshore wind that's with us, and it's been breezy throughout the day, especially this afternoon. Those gusts 30 to 40 miles an hour. But the sun is going down right now, so the atmosphere is going to be a little bit less energetic, and we're going to see those winds relaxing as we head through the rest of this evening. Just a spectacular sunset as we look out from Salesforce Tower. Let's check out some of those highest gusts. And Mount Diablo had a gust over 60 miles an hour. For most cities around the Bay Area, the gusts were in that 30 to 40 mile an hour range, but 43 miles an hour for Fairfield. That'll move you around on the road, and there are still some wind gusts that are strong right now. Again, things are going to start calming down as we head through the next few hours, and it's not going to be as breezy tomorrow. Not as much of a squeeze in the atmosphere. Still an offshore wind for most of the day. Temperatures a couple degrees warmer than we were today, till that onshore wind is going to kick in late in the afternoon. As the little system drops in from the north, it's going to bring us some more clouds, cooler temperatures on Thursday, but in terms of any chance of rain falling out of those clouds, no, not going to happen. Just some passing clouds overhead Thursday, and then we start warming up again on Friday. Right now, temperatures are still mild as we look out towards San Jose. Low to mid-60s across the board. Everybody between 62 in Livermore and 65 degrees in Oakland. That offshore wind really stirring the atmosphere around and almost eliminating the marine influence. So everybody's temperatures in the 60s at the moment, but it is just a tiny bit cooler along the coast. Half Moon Bay's been dropping down into the 50s. Right now, we're looking at the low temperatures for tonight. At the moment, we're in the 60s. By tomorrow morning, we'll be about 20 degrees cooler because the winds are going to calm down. So there's not as much to keep the atmosphere stirred around, and our temperatures will end up pretty close to what's normal for late March. High temperatures tomorrow, though, about 4 or 5 degrees above average for this time of year. Let's zoom in for a closer look. Along the coast, lower half of the 60s there, but upper 60s to around 70 degrees for the South Bay, right around 70 degrees in the Santa Clara Valley, if not a degree above it. That'll be the case in San Jose. Similar temperatures inland in the East Bay. The Tri-Valley mostly right around 70 degrees. Slightly warmer on the east side of the Diablo Range. Fairfield, Antioch, Brentwood reaching up into the low 70s. With mid to upper 60s around the Central Bay. 66 in the city, 68 degrees in Oakland. Mostly right around 70 degrees for the North Bay. Temperatures are going to be in a similar territory farther north as well. Mendocino and Lake Counties, a mix of 60s and 70s on the map by Wednesday afternoon. We're looking for some rain chances, and it's still the month of March. We're still in that time of year when you can see rain headed our way. We're just not going to see rain headed our way. A whopping 0% rain chance all the way into early next week. But it looks like that dry stretch of weather isn't just going to be here through the end of March, but into the first week of April. The 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center calls for a significant chance of below average precipitation, which doesn't necessarily mean zero, but we're getting closer to the time of year when below average puts us pretty close to zero. So we'll keep a lookout for any rain chances that might head our way. What is headed our way is a warm-up for the weekend, upper 70s inland Saturday and Sunday, and even into the low 70s around the Bay for the first half of the weekend, just a couple degrees cooler on Sunday. We'll have another update coming up at 11 o'clock.
All right, see you then. Thanks, Paul.
Well, here's a look at your top headlines. We now know the names of the 10 people who were killed in a Colorado mass shooting. The youngest victim, a 20-year-old man. The oldest, a 62-year-old woman. Police say the suspected gunman is now being charged with first-degree murder. Investigators say he purchased the gun less than a week ago. And less than 2 hours ago, before their tip-off, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr weighed in on the shootings in Boulder and Atlanta. He displayed the names of the victims behind him. Kerr lost his own father to gun violence when he was a child.
Ted Cruz, this could be your family. This could be your friend. You know, this could be somebody very close to you. If it happened, you know, would you not want there to be something in place where there was a background check? It's just mind-boggling to me that we can just continue to cater to the very small minority in this country. Again, 90% of Americans, regardless of political affiliation, support background checks.
And gun violence just happened to be on the agenda earlier on Capitol Hill. Some lawmakers on both sides of the aisle agree they need action now to address the gun violence across the country.
Inaction has made this horror completely predictable. Inaction by this Congress makes us complicit.
Every time there's a shooting, we play this ridiculous theater where this committee gets together and proposes a bunch of laws that would do nothing to stop these murders.
Tonight, President Biden is pushing the Senate to pass 2 bills already passed in the House. Both of them would close loopholes in the background check system. Ken?
Elizabeth, thank you for that. Coming up next, why many Bay Area businesses that are now reopening can't seem to find enough workers.
I think that Prince Harry stands a very good chance of bringing something that's much needed to big tech in Silicon Valley.
But what could be Prince Harry's biggest challenge as he starts his new Bay Area job? And then later, there's already Chase Center and Oracle Park. Now there's plans for another big sports venue on the Bay. Tonight, the lingering effects of the pandemic and year-long lockdown. Analysts are warning that we may be facing a looming labor shortage. Former head of California's Labor Department says the tourism and hospitality industry has been especially hard hit, losing nearly 800,000 jobs over the course of a year.
A good number of those people have either gone on to by necessity, gone on to other jobs, or moved to other areas of the state or other states.
Prince Harry just recently broke away from the royal family, and now he's taken a role as Chief Impact Officer for the Bay Area mental health platform BetterUp. His salary not released. He won't manage any employees. He'll instead focus on things like outreach, the company's vision, and its own social mission. But some experts believe Prince Harry's celebrity status and that big interview with Oprah could lead to challenges for both him and the company.
How do you avoid the appearance of having someone come on as, say, like a trophy hire?
Yeah, I think that's a real challenge for a situation like this. And that's where it's important for him to come in and be able to show value immediately, show value in line with the mission and what they're looking to achieve, and also be very authentic in what he brings to the organization.
So I think if he resists some of the day-to-day trite sort of rigidity of big tech, of spreadsheets and reports and hierarchy and bureaucracy, I think that Prince Harry stands a very good chance of bringing something that's much needed to big tech in Silicon Valley.
And up next, there's already baseball and basketball. Now, how about a little soccer right along the water? Live look from Treasure Island. It could become the site of the Bay Area's newest sports venue. Here's a look at the new facility set to be built for the San Francisco Glens, a minor league soccer team. The team just got unanimous approval from the city for this state-of-the-art field near the water on TI. And there's also plans for a grandstand with 1,500 seats. Construction could begin next spring. The Glens are currently celebrating their 60th year as a team.
Well, thank you for watching. The news continues streaming on CBSN Bay Area.
And we'll be back here with more local news for you. See if that wind finally dies down.
Oof.
At 11 o'clock.
It was cold when it picked up. Looked pretty, but it was cold.
Have a good night.